But one day I happened to stop by the Unicorn bookshop on Route 50, Jim Dawson's bookshop, and picked up a copy there of Jack Baker's book that had just been published, his biography, very comprehensive biography of Gilbert Byron's life. And I came home and read it and was really overwhelmed by the passion, the dedication, the achievement of Gilbert Byron, who is not known nationally anymore, if he ever was. But I think is very important as a regional writer and giving voice to the history and the experiences of the Eastern Shore. I was going through old papers of mine and I realized that maybe 30 years ago I had first run across some mention of this land that the Spanish called Ajacan. I'd started a file on it because I thought it would be interesting to write about it someday. And it kept nagging at me over the years because I don't believe the early Spanish voyages to Chesapeake Bay are well known. But they're very real. And fascinating, just one of those blind alleys, as it turned out, that history started to go down and then stopped and it all reversed. So I was always haunted by that episode, but never motivated to really throw myself into the serious research that would be required to write a novel or a good nonfiction history of it. And then lo and behold, I stumble through Jack Baker's book. I stumble across this manuscript, this unpublished book, where a really fine regional author like Gilbert Byron has already written that story. And for some reason, it had never been published. We don't know why. 1570s. 1570s. So it's roughly about the same time as the so-called Lost Colony on Roanoke Island, North Carolina. And it was about 30, 40 years before the founding of Jamestown, the first permanent English-speaking colony in North America. So at that time, of course, the Spanish were based down in Florida. They had a fort in South Carolina. And they were exploring to the north. They wanted to Christianize the Algonquin Indians. They, of course, had ideas about finding a northwest passage to the Pacific. They wanted to expand the domains for King Philip II of Spain. They were very active in Mexico and Central America. There was a great battle for world dominance going on. Spanish, French, English. Nobody knew what the ensuing centuries would bring. Nobody knew what was in the continent that we now call North America. My satisfaction, I think it's a book that when people see it, they're going to want to read it. I think it will be in libraries around here for a long time. It'll be at the Unicorn, it'll be at the News Center, it'll be part of the growing Gilbert Byron legacy at Pickering Creek. The Gilbert Byron Society, I think, will flourish for quite some time to come. So I believe that it's a contribution to people's understanding of this history, and it'll be available for people to find. You have to pay for your supper one way or another. So I'm also working with contemporary writers. Yeah, the Oblate's Confession, I mean, that has been just a home run. I'm so happy for him. It's been recognized with several national awards, and he's in demand. He's been in demand throughout the region and even across the Bay as a speaker and presenter. And it's an historical novel, but not about the history of this place. No, 7th century Northumbria. Go figure. I'm also very excited in March to be bringing out a book by a co-worker of Bill's at the Talbot County Free Library. Karen Carides. I don't know whether you know Karen. Yes, she's Acquisitions Library. We've adapted her PhD dissertation, which is called Hard-Boiled Anxiety. And it's a Freudian reading of Dashiell Hammett, Raymond Chandler, and Ross MacDonald. It's exciting. We've gotten blurbs from people who have written in the field who have really been laudatory of her insights, and showing the way in which sort of the alter egos that these noir novelists created were really playing out psychic conflicts that you could trace back in their authors' creators' lives. I think it's always been the case, even for the very largest publishers, that there were 1 or 2 hits per season that would sustain the rest of the list. And then large publishers have traditionally depended on their mid-list, which is good books of quality that are read for years to come, that will still be checked out of libraries, that will still be ordered from bookstores. And I've thought of myself in many ways as serving the good, serious, mid-list author who does find it hard to get a foot in the door with.